Watch you guys, today we're taking a look at how to easily turn your OrangePi 5 Max into a home server with OMV. So I've got an OrangePi 5 Max here, which was sent to me by the company. Now the specifications of the OrangePi 5 Max are pretty impressive. The processor is a Rockchip RK3588, which is an octa-core processor with 4 cores of A76 and also running at 2.4 GHz and 4 Cortex A55 cores running at 1.8 GHz. The Mali G610 is the GPU on here. The system memory has 3 flavors: 4 GB, 8 GB and 16 GB. This is the 16 GB version. It does have a memory card slot on here, and it also has an M.2 2280 PCI Express 3.0x4 socket on here for your NVMe SSD. We have 4 USB ports on here. 2 of them are USB 3.0 and 2 are USB 2.0. The networking side of things are 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, and we also have Wi-Fi 6E on here as well, and Bluetooth 5.3. For the rest of the specifications, just pause the video and read them at your own leisure. As an optional extra, you can use this eMMC flash socket here, which does support 32 gigabytes, 64 gigabytes, 128 gigabytes, or you can get the 256 gigabyte module, which is what I've got here. Or you can use the eMMC flash chip soldered on the board. You can solder your own chip on here, but I'm going to use this one here, which allows me just to plug it straight in. So let me go ahead and fix this to the board. It's got the little chip on the outside of it, and there is the connectors on the bottom here. All you need to do is line these up on the right way, and then just push these on, and you should hear a little click, and that will give us 256 gigabytes of storage on here. Now that's actually clicked in. Now if you want to solder something on here, you can do, but I'm going to use this because they sent it to me. And also what we're going to be doing here as well is I'm going to use the M.2 slot here, which is this one right here. This is your standard length here. So we're going to put a 2 terabyte drive inside here as well, which is quite useful. We also have that micro SD card slot in here, which means you can put more storage on there as well. And all you need to do here is just plug it in like this, and you can add more storage this way. So you've got plenty of options available to you. Let me just quickly populate this one here with a 2 terabyte drive so we can see how it works. I'm going to go ahead and screw this down. This is just a Western Digital Black, and I'm just going to quickly screw this one down with a little screw. Now it doesn't come with the screw, so you will have to get one of those yourself. They're easily available on Amazon. Now because we're setting up OpenMediaVault on here as well, you would need more storage than what we're using right here, unless you're using some sort of simple file sharing on your home network, which would be quite useful. Now if you did want to expand the storage even further, you could do. Now you can also buy cases for these. I've ordered one from China, and unfortunately it didn't arrive in time, so I've gone ahead and I'm just going to put some thermal pads on the chips here. But we do have that 2.5 gigabit Ethernet port, and we also have these USB ports here. If you wanted to populate these, you could do with something like this, what you see on the screen right now, and you can then put an external drive on these. And you can also use something like this caddy here and basically set up a RAID on that system and use it for external storage that way if you wanted to. Here is our Type-C connector here for power, and we have 2 HDMI ports on here and our audio 3.5 audio input there as well. So let's go ahead and get this prepped ready for our OpenMediaVault, and I'll show you step by step on how to set this up. So we have all our usual connectors that you would get on a single board computer here. Here is our Wi-Fi here. I'm just going to pull this out the way, and I'm going to fix some sort of cooling on here because I don't have the case yet. So I will be getting that case. If you want to see more videos on this little single board computer, let me know in the comments section down below. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to get this set up so we can go ahead and install OpenMediaVault. But here is an actual diagram of all the specifications of what's on that board, and you can read these at your own leisure. They are also on the website, so I'll leave a link for those in the video description, and you can see all the connectivity on here. You do have 3 camera ports on here as well. You've got your microphone, your power key, and also we also have some other stuff on here for fans and things like that if you wanted to set that up like I told you before, we can also put hard drives on here as well. So it's got plenty of power for all your needs. And what we're going to do is set this up. Let me just show you the other side of the board with a diagram here so you can actually see what is actually on the other side of the board as well. So on the bottom side of the board, we do have another camera port here, and you can see that flash area here. And we also have some other areas on here, which we talked about, the eMMC interface. And we also have that micro SD card slot here and your M.2 port here, which we can connect up to as well. So that is the actual unit itself. Let's go ahead and get this set up. So I'll just quickly go to the download page on their website. And what we're going to do is we're going to download the actual image to use OpenMediaVault on here. So here is the official images for the Orange Pi 5 Max. We can see we've got quite a few to choose from, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be adding more as time goes by. Now what we're going to do is use the Debian image here. So let me go ahead and click on the Debian download button. This will open up a Google Drive here, and you can now download whatever version you want. I'm going to be downloading the server version because that's what we're going to be installing on here. Now you can use this as a retro gaming system and things like that if you want to. If you want to see videos on that, let me know in the comments section. But I'm going to be setting this up with OpenMediaVault. Now Ambient you can also set up on here when they release it. There is an Orange Pi 5 Pro version. There isn't a Max version right now. Hopefully that won't take long before they set this up, and then you'll be able to use something like this on the system, which will be even more lightweight if you're looking for saving resources and things. But I'm pretty sure what we've got here with Debian should be perfectly fine. They also do other versions of Ambient for you for different other types of single board computers. This is the Orange Pi version here, and you can see there's a bunch of them here because they do more than one version of Orange Pi. Unfortunately, the Max version is not on here, and I don't think the Pro version will work with the Max type of single board computer. So we're going to go ahead and use the Debian image. You're also going to need Balena Etcher to burn that onto the actual micro SD card or wherever you want to put yours. I'm going to be putting it onto a micro SD card here. I've got this into my project folder here. Here is the actual image that I've downloaded. I just need to extract this. So I'm going to extract all, and this will unlock the image so we can use it. And once we've extracted it, there is our image right here. This is the file that we're going to be using to put onto our micro SD card. Now you could put this onto the eMMC flash if you wanted to, but I'm going to use the micro SD card in this occasion. So let's go ahead and open up Balena Etcher here. These are all free programs to use, and this is probably the most easiest way of getting this onto a micro SD card. So all we need to do is flash from file, choose the file, and we've just unpacked it. So let's go ahead and go to project folder and go inside this little folder here and choose our image. It should see .img on there. Now we can choose the card that we're going to be putting it onto. You can see this is a 63 gigabyte SD card, and we're going to be putting it onto there. Start the flashing process. I'll speed this process up because it takes a bit of time. And once we got this going, we should be able to use this and boot to it. And I'll show you the whole process of setting up OpenMediaVault onto a Orange Pi 5 Max. So that shouldn't take too long, and that's now validating to make sure the image is gone across properly, and that's now done. We can now close this off, and what we want to do now is set it up. Now you can see I do have some thermal pads on here, and that's because the case didn't arrive in time, unfortunately, and I wanted to get this video out for the company because they did send me the product and I wanted to get it done for them. But that's my setup temporarily, but I will put the case on here when it's arrived. That should be perfectly fine for cooling. Right now I've folded up a couple of thermal pads on here. I've powered it on, and what we're going to do now is head over to our PC and we're going to connect up to this using SSH. So let's go ahead and we'll head over to the PC so we can hook up to this. So I'm on the computer right now. What I'm going to do is open up a terminal window right here by right clicking on the start button, and this will give us a terminal window. And from here, what we need to do here is connect to it. Now it will tell you the IP address once it's booted up. So I'm going to go SSH space root at and the IP address for my particular system. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in right here. And yours might be different. So I'm just going to push enter. It's going to ask us to put the fingerprint key in here. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes, type that out, push enter. And now it needs the password. The password on this one is orangepi, all one word. So I'm going to go ahead and type that out and push enter. And this will allow us to hook up to our OrangePi 5 Max using SSH. So here we can now see exactly what I was seeing on my monitor screen right over there, but you won't see that. But this is what I was looking at. And now I can do it from my computer. So now I'm going to do sudo space apt space upgrade, and this is going to do a bunch of upgrades on that system. It's going to say, do you want to continue? I'm going to say Wi-Fi yes, and I'll speed this process up. It does take a bit of time because there was a massive upgrade for this particular device. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right here, and that does take a little bit of time, so be patient. Next, we're going to do a update. So we're going to do the same again and do update this time and push enter. And I'll leave all these commands in the video description for you. And once that's done, we've now updated it. So now we need to go and get OpenMediaVault onto here. And what we need to do here is basically we need to put in this command right here. And you can get all of these on OpenMediaVault's website. You can just copy and paste them from there. I'm going to paste that in and push enter. And this also does take a fair bit of time. I have speeded this process up, but it does take a fair bit of time to get this installed onto that micro SD card. Now, of course, you can do this onto the eMMC drive as well if you wanted to, but I'm going to do it onto there just for this video. So once that's done, you may see something looking like this. IP address may changed, and you could lose connection if you're running this script via SSH. That's okay. That just means the IP address might have changed, and we need to then look at the device. You can see here it's sent a disconnect connection, so the connection has reset. You now need to look on the actual monitor that you've got your OrangePi Max plugged into, and now we need to do SSH space root at and the IP address again of what it's giving you on there. So mine has changed slightly. It's now 202 instead of 201. Push enter. Unfortunately, I did get some sort of warning. Remote host identification has changed. To fix this, we're going to go SSH-keygen, like so, and then space, dash, capital R, and then space. And then what we need to do here is put our IP address in, which is 192.168.1.202. For me, yours might be different. And now you can see it's basically done the known underscore hosts file to .old. It's changed it and it's put it there. So now when I do SSH into our OrangePi 5 Max, it should give us a new connection here. So let's go ahead and do this. So go SSH space, and we're going to do root at, and we're going to do the IP address, which is for me 192.168.1.202. Push enter. If you don't get that error code, then don't worry about it. We should now see that, are you sure you want to continue? I'm going to say yes, and it's going to give us a new SSH code here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and put the password in, which is OrangePi. And now we're back at this screen again. So we've now got OpenMediaVault installed on this system. I just want to make sure and see whether the service is running correctly. So let's go ahead and do sudo space service and then do space. And then we need to type out ngi and then do nx and then space status. Push enter, and this will tell us the status of our OpenMediaVault. And you can see it's running, working perfectly fine. That means we can now log into our OpenMediaVault. So let's go ahead and go to our system and log in. So let's go to our browser on our computer, and we can now log into it for the first time. Now the default password and username is admin and also OpenMediaVault as password. I'll show you that right now. So let's go ahead and put our IP address in for our OrangePi 5 Max. And you can see here the IP address has gone in. All I need to do here is click on my mouse one time, and we should then see the OpenMediaVault coming up here. So everything is going good so far. All we need to do next is put in the username, which is going to be our default username and password. So put admin in, for the username, and then password will be OpenMediaVault. So type that in, all one word, all lowercase, and push login, and we should be able to log in to our OpenMediaVault. And there we are. We're at the OpenMediaVault dashboard here. And now you can set it up and configure it the way you like. I'll quickly show you some configurations that you'll need to do to get up and running, but you can spend more time on yours because yours is going to be different to my setup here. But there is plenty of documentation on OpenMediaVault. But first off, what we're going to do is update our system. So I'm going to go ahead and go update management and then click on updates and click on this little one here and confirm and say yes. And it's going to go off and open up a little prompt box here and download all of the updates for our system. I'll speed this process up to make it quicker. And once that's done, we should be fully updated. And now, once we've done this, we can then set up our share on this system. So we're going to need to set up our drive and everything else. And you can add users and all that sort of stuff. So let that go ahead and do its updates. It should say end of line, which means it's completed. We can now close this off, push closed. It's loading up, and there we go. So what's next? Okay, so let's go on to the next step, which we're going to need to do here. This just gives you all the stats and system information. It's been up for 8 minutes. You can see here the memory usage is very low, and we need to now configure our OpenMediaVault. So let's go ahead and get this up and running, and I'll show you some of the things you can do. So what we need to do here is go to storage. I'm just going to quickly check the disks here to see if they're all recognized. And you can see we do have all of our disks recognized. If you've got more drives on your system, they will be listed all here. Now, obviously, we're still using our default username and password, and we need to change that. So go up to the little man icon on the top right and change your password to something more recognizable to you, and so people don't know what the generic password is, which is used on OpenMediaVault, which is what the password is. So you want something a bit more secure. So I'm going to go ahead and type out a password here, and once we've done this, this will secure our server. So I'm going to go ahead and click save, and once that's done, we should have a new password for ourselves. So once we've got that done, what we're going to need to do now is we need to go back to our storage area here and go into file systems. Once you're inside here, click on the little plus sign to create and mount a file system. And we're using ext4. I'm going to say ext4 is the type, and we're going to click on our drive on the drop down menu. You can choose what drive you want. If there's a large drive, it may take quite a while to do. I'm just going to use this little small drive here just to show you for quickness. But if you've got a large drive, bear in mind it will take a bit of time to get this done. So we're going to say save. And this is only 256 gigabytes, so it shouldn't take too long. I just want to give you an idea of how to set it up. So end of line is there, so that means that is complete. Now, once that's done, we're going to leave this as is and go to file system here. And we need to choose our file system. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that file system we just created. I'm going to leave it at 85% to warn me once that reaches that threshold. And once that's done, we can now click on save. And you can change this to whatever you like here. I'll leave it at 85%. Click save, and that should now be done. Now, you can now see it's online. Now, if you do pending configuration changes, click on the little check mark here and say yes, and that will then commit that configuration change that we've just done. So just let that do what it needs to do, and we can move on to the next step to setting up your OpenMediaVault. So what we're going to do next is we're going to set up our shared folders. So let's go ahead and click on shared folders under file systems. Click on the plus sign, which is create. Give it a name. Let's just call it NAS. And we can call this a file system. I'm going to click on our file system that we're using. Everything else seems okay here. I'm going to leave this as administrator read and write and stuff like that. So click on save. You can change this if you want to whatever you like. If you want to do everyone read and write, that means everyone on your network will be able to access it. It's a bit risky, but if you want to set it up as that, you can do. It will be on your internal network. If you're going outside your network, you might want to change that to something more secure. So let's go ahead and click save, And now we need to change the pending configuration changes by clicking the check mark, and that is now set up our shares. So once we've got that done, we can now move on to the next step. And what we're going to do here now is check the permissions here. So click on it and go to permissions. And this is where you can change the permissions for that. You can see we've got OrangePi as our name, and we can do this as read and write for that particular user and that group. So I'll leave that as is. I'll add another user a little bit later on. I'll show you how to do that. Every time you make a change, you will have to click on the pending configuration changes and do the check mark thing. Okay, so that bit's now done, and we're nearly there, and we will be able to use this and share files across our network. Go into services, click on smb/sifs and go on there. And what we want to do is enable this feature right here. And your work group's fine. We can leave that as is, and everything else should be good. So click save. And again, you guessed it, you're going to have to check mark that on the pending configuration changes. So once we've got that done, we can move on to the next step here. And that is now done. And inside smb/sifs here, once we click on this one right here, we can go into shares. And inside here, once we click on this area here, you should see inside here, we need to enable this and select the shared folder. So let's go ahead and do this right now and do the drop down here and put that on there. Once we've got that done, we now can click save. And again, you guessed it, we need to click that check mark and do the pending configuration changes. And once that's done, we can create a user account if we want to, or use the account that's already on there. If you want to create accounts for other people, you can do. I'll show you how to quickly do that. It's very straightforward. It's in the user section, and you're doing the same sort of thing. So now that's all done. Inside the users area here, you can see I've already got an account created for myself, and I can go into here and I can already give myself read and write access for that. And you can create accounts in here by doing the same thing, clicking the plus sign and add whatever accounts you want inside there. So I've got 2 accounts here, which is one of the new ones. And again, we do need to quickly check mark that and go to the next step. So once we've done this, we can now hopefully log in to our shared folder on our computer and start sharing files across the network. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll quickly show you how we set that up and how we can use it. So back on the computer, what we need to do here is open up File Explorer and go to this PC. And if you type / and the IP address right here, or you can go down to network, down the bottom left-hand corner, you can go down there if you want to. I'm just going to put in the IP address and then /NAS, which is what we called that shared folder. Push enter, and you will see a little prompt box popping up to put in your username and password so you can log in to that account. So push enter, and you now can see it populated on the screen. And of course, what you need to do here is I'm going to show more options to change to a different account and put Britec and put the password in that I set for that. And you can say, remember my credentials if you want to. Click OK. And this will then open up our share that we just created on our little server. So let's go ahead and have a look here. It's empty right now. So we can create a folder, call it whatever you like. I'm going to call this one, say, movies. And I'll quickly copy a video file over so you'll be able to see what sort of speeds you get. Now, again, everyone's going to vary, but you should get reasonable speed. Don't expect super lightning speeds on this little single board computer, but it should be good enough for a lot of documents and some sort of files that you want to copy over. You can see here we're getting 113, 114 MBs, so pretty reasonable speeds for a single board computer. Plenty fast enough for a lot of people that want to just share files on their home network. And again, you can set this up with loads of different things. There's loads of projects you can do with this particular single board computer. If you want to see more videos on this, then let me know in the comments section down below. Now, to set up your dashboard, you can just go ahead and set this up so you can see some sort of monitoring system, some sort of power usage, and also the temperatures and things like that. You can install plugins on here as well, and you can do whatever you want to do on your home server. So I'm going to go ahead, and what we're going to do here is I'll quickly show you how to quickly do that. So you've got OMV-extras already installed here. You can go to the plugins area and click on any of these and install them. You can even have your dashboard display a bunch of widgets if you want to, and this would be CPU temperature, CPU utilization, and disk temperatures and all that sort of good stuff, so you can keep an eye on what's going on your little home server. And you can set this up: memory usage, network interface, smart status, and all that sort of stuff. I'm just going to check mark a bunch of these and just show you, and then we can save this, and then once I save it, you'll be able to see some of the stats on here. I'm not going to do them all, but we'll just get some available updates, uptime, and stuff like that. So let me go ahead and get this done. Click save, and there you go. You should now have a dashboard looking like this, and it'll give you more information about what's actually going on your system. Now remember, I don't have a proper cooler on this, and it's running at 58.2 Celsius, and that's because I only have a thermal pad on here folded up to try and dissipate heat on there, and it's working okay. As you can see here, hardly any memory usage. CPU utilization is not being used because we haven't set up a lot of stuff on here and we're not using it right now. But you can see that is basically OpenMediaVault and how you can set it up on Orange Pi 5 Max. I hope this video has been some sort of use to you. It has been quite a long video, but it is quite an in-depth little topic, and you might want to use something like this on your home server as a little bit of practice and a bit of fun. And they're not that expensive, they're quite affordable, and that's basically it. Anyway, I hope this video has been some sort of use. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Just want to say a quick shout out to all my YouTube members who join my YouTube members group. I really do appreciate the support. I shall catch you in the very next video. If you stuck around to the end, let me know in the comment section by typing the word trumpet. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.